Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm grandmother Elspeth, and I'm going to try to do a better job of the one we did yesterday. What I want to talk about a little while is the title is Agents of Conscious Evolution. Now, each one of those words might be open to interpretation, and you'll eventually learn what I see the definitions are. Margaret Mead said one of the things that she is famous for saying, you are the agents of evolution. Choice came into the world with you. You have the burden of freedom. Pretty impressive. Darwin's definition of evolution, which incidentally was not survival of the fittest, that was somebody interpreting him. His work says survival of those who will adapt to changing conditions. So what we're looking at these days, evolution is becoming to be a real buzzword. There's a very famous teacher. Are you coming in? Okay, can we? Okay, I want to move down here. Thank you. There's a well-known, worldwide known Barbara Marx Hubbard who teaches a class called Conscious Evolution. That's where I got part of my title. And it will cost you $200, I think, to take her class over your computer. She sees the idea of evolution as being one critical to us now. There's a book out called The Evolutionaries, people who are foisting the change, the transition, and the change to the next thing, whatever it may be. We don't know, but we can get a lot of clues. So this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Margaret Mead says you are the agents of evolution. Darwin says the prize goes to those who adapt. That's not a quotation. So we look at what's happening. Science has even taken a second or third or 15th look at the idea of evolution. And now you're finding many theories that say it doesn't always happen over 1,000 years. Minute changes from one generation to the other. No, sometimes it's like that. It happens immediately. You know the story of the 100th monkey? No? No? Well, I've heard it off and on for a long, long time. I do not know whether it was actually a thing that happened, but you'll understand the principle. It seems that some of the islands off the coast of Japan, many of those little islands, are not inhabited by humans. They have monkeys living on them. Now, the monkeys cannot get from one island to the other. So that's part of what you need to know. The journey is too long. This is not like next door. But they are related. They are genetically related in some way. So I don't know whether the story I'm going to tell you was the purpose of an experiment or whether it was a side thing that happened. But a number of scientists decided to do some experiments with these monkeys. And in the process, of course, they fed them. And what they would do is a plane would fly over every few days and drop sweet potatoes on each island for the monkeys to eat. I approve of that diet. I think sweet potatoes are very, very healthy. But at any height, you want to get a chair and come through here? Get her a chair. At any rate, the scientists are shipboard. They have a ship that they can all get on in with glasses, binoculars. They look over there and they watch the monkeys. Now you got the picture. You don't, but you'll catch up. You got the picture there. They go around, they sail, they do the ship, their boat or ship or something, checking on. They stay away from the islands. part of this is that the humans are not going to interact with the monkeys. And after some weeks, they noticed on one island, one monkey took her sweet potato, I'm sure it was a female monkey, took her sweet potato and washed it in the ocean before she ate it. Okay, somebody made a note. And they went to all the islands, and they went every 3 or 4 days to the islands. And after a while, maybe 2 weeks or so, they noticed other monkeys on that island were washing their sweet potatoes. Now, obviously, the one monkey could communicate with the other ones on the island and say, look, you don't get grit in your teeth if you wash your potato first. And everybody said, that's good, so they did. And more of them began washing their sweet potatoes. One island, no other islands. And it came to be that the majority of those monkeys on this one island were washing their sweet potatoes. And then suddenly, all at one time, the next week they went around to the islands and there were monkeys washing sweet potatoes on every single island. This is evolution. If it is happenstance, it also shows some form of communication between the islands among these members of a species. But they watched it long enough that the next generation came along and automatically washed their sweet potatoes. Now, it's a bit clumsy in thinking of that as an evolutionary step because there are behavioral steps also. But behavioral steps will lead to an evolution of a species. One of the most important things that we can do this day and age, I told y'all yesterday that is provide our food, grow our food. That lecture was called Eat Your Front Yard, but that was several days ago. If we learn to treat our food with honor, in other words, recognize the value of our food, we know where it's grown, we know what's in it, all like that. That is an evolutionary step within our species. But it will also be a behavioral thing, generation to generation. Evolution scientifically has broadened to the point that I'm going to stop for a minute. Jim, will you let that lady come in and get on the other side of you? I warned you I started on time. Can you move your show?
I'm going to move it.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm so sorry to intrude like that.
Getting all snuggly in here now.
We have choice. We are a species that has evolved in many aspects of our life, way beyond what our body has evolved. You need to come in here. Okay, how are we going to make this happen?
Here, come and take this. Here, come in and take this chair.
Come
I
here,
can
just,
stay back outside.
Come, Percy, come closer to me.
We can get one more chair in. Here, you
Fit
keep
another
that
chair
one.
in.
You sit
I
there.
saw the people
Just have to
coming
sit a little
in.
closer.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Oh, you have your own.
I do have my own chair,
Come on in.
but I can just start a second row out here. I'll be fine.
Love you,
Okay, there's going to be a room.
Awesome.
Going to be a
Love you,
room
Sherry.
right there.
Oh,
Hey,
excellent.
Squirt, get up. Okay.
All right. All right. Sorry about that.
Squirt.
I am Squirt.
Now, John, can you move the chair over a little bit? We'll keep the camera where it is, but we'll move the chair over.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, welcome.
All right.
I did warn you, though, y'all, that I start on time, so we're already into this. I don't know where I was, so I'll start over. Scientists nowadays are studying the fact that evolving species or manners like that and all like that are possibly much different. There is that very interesting thing of the quarks. You know, have you heard about quarks? They don't exist until you observe them. This is
What is it?
I'm sorry?
What doesn't exist?
Quarks. Quarks.
Quark.
It's an imaginary thing as far as we've never seen them.
Q-U-A-R-K. Quark.
And it's a tiny, tiny, tiny bundle of energy. But it can be a wave or
Particle.
a particle. It only happens when it is observed. Now, this is a long way to come from the Galapagos Islands and the finches that Darwin watched. Still the same science. Still people making choices that shift, that evolve. We're all involved in the evolution of our species, as well as the personal changes we make. We're living longer, we have time to do more, and the last 200 years, we've spent that time screwing up the earth. One of the most important things, as I said, we're in the middle of an evolutionary journey of our species. A lot of material I give you is chewed, swallowed, and regurgitated out of other people's thinking, because I like to find people that agree with me that I can think. But this is one thing that has struck me for a long time. Our species has evolved with a purpose. We have certain abilities, and we have certain even learned skills and ambitions, goals, this sort of thing, that are different from the other animals. And it is my vision that while we're at the top of the food chain, we are not the, excuse me, I'm in the middle of it. I'm glad you're here. I was getting worried. People, this is Wade. Wade used to run this here. Okay. You're going to be around all afternoon? Okay.
I'll be here until gates close.
What did you say?
I'll be here until the end of the day.
Okay, great. We will too. Talk to you. Lost my track. He always makes me lose my track. Our species has come along. Each species has a niche, a place where it works best, where it blends into the surrounding environment and the country. We can eat both meat and plant. Our species can stand more weather changes. Think about this. Most species are locked into a particular kind of environment. They can eat this, but not anything else. Think about the pandas and the eucalyptus trees. They get in bad trouble when the eucalyptus starts to. Think about silkworms and mulberry leaves. There are many, many, many things that can only consume certain kinds of things or only go to certain kinds of places. Fish don't do well up on the sandy beach, and they can't fly either. So they're kind of locked in. We can do any of that, and have, and do. Places that are almost completely uninhabitable, we've learned to inhabit, and we're destroying wherever we are. So our evolutionary impulses of moving further and further into our possibilities has had a very, very negative effect. We need to begin making conscious choices. It's not begin. I hope you've been doing it. Part of it is I'm telling you stuff you already know. But if we keep saying it over and over again, and you say it in the presence of a lot of other people, it will take effect. The first thing that I urge you to do in your journey of conscious evolution is to, I'm going back now, to grow your own food. I can't do that. I don't have land. I don't know how. I just have a balcony apartment. All this excuses, oh no, the big one is, I can't do that, I hold down a job. The job ain't gonna be there very long. compared to other countries. So the other thing is real food is not, is it, that wrote the, all the books about food. Never mind. Well, I'll think of it tonight and I'll call you and tell you. But food, real food is the food that your grandmother would have recognized as food. It's not made up of a bunch of chemicals, heavy fat, heavy sugar, all this kind of thing, processed food. That came out very British, processed food. Stay away from that kind of stuff. Eat real food. Eat real food. It takes time to prepare. It takes time to garden and get it, and if you don't have a place to garden, go and offer to help somebody who is. Call it sharecropping, call it shared gardens, whatever it is. Get your hands dirty. Get your hands in the soil. Learn about soil. Now, that's the end of that sermon, but I didn't want to get that in there. See, I was very smart. Put that in there. The shift in the food culture has to come from a shift in consumer choice. We have to make a decision to take the harder way, the way we've got to learn how to do, and what we will. Our food system, I'm reading somebody else's work here, but it's important. Our food systems are being hijacked by a handful of corporations who want to patent our seeds, push genetically engineered food down our throat. Now the big booger, scary person in this process is Monsanto. There are other corporations that likely are doing the same thing, but Monsanto is the big one, the one you hear about. Genetically modified foods are not automatically evil. Now, you can back me on the head if you want.